continue sequence and ranking. Students, before we continue the topic, just want to tell you something, because this has already been 1 month, so probably you have got some idea about aptitude and all that. What do you understand from this? As far as our aptitude is concerned, I tell you, basics are so simple actually. Basics are so simple, you see, it is very easy to understand the basics, but questions can be designed in any way. I think you understand that. Questions can be designed in whatever the way examiner wish. So, when the question is set as per the convenience of the examiner, then what should be your approach? Therefore, what I said is a natural ability of learning. Come on student, I just want to let you know that. That is the reason why I told you that aptitude is what we discussed in the very beginning. Aptitude is defined as natural ability of learning. Aptitude is defined as natural ability of learning. Natural ability of learning. Probably yes, this is probably because I had already been 1 month. Now I just want to let you know some of the very important concepts of aptitude. Why this topic is so widely used in every part of the world. You take America, you take Europe, you take India, you take Asia, almost in every part of the world, the topic for any competitive examination is obviously aptitude. Aptitude will help to understand the examiner how naturally you are thinking, how conveniently you are handling one particular question, that is said to be natural ability of learning. That is the reason why we call this topic as aptitude. So, for your information, my dear students, I just want to remind you once again, basics of this particular topic are so simple, so easy, but application has no limitation. Questions can be set from any corner. You understand that? That is the reason why to answer this particular concept, the student need to have skill, not just knowledge. Skill is nothing but application of knowledge. I think you understand this. Got the point? So, please understand. So, as far as our aptitude is concerned, as I told you, aptitude is basically divided into two components. One is quantitative aptitude. Quantitative, you see that? Quantitative means measurable. Percentages, profit and loss, ratio, proportion, this is all about quantitative aptitude. And second one is a test of reasoning. Comparatively, if you compare these two topics, this I can say relatively easy. Reasoning is relatively easy. But quantitative aptitude is a wide topic, so it is not easy to handle all the questions in quantitative aptitude. It takes some time. You see, it takes some time to get the perfection in the topic. So, while you are attempting ratio proportion paper, if you find any questions very complicated, or if you find the time is not sufficient, it is not your mistake, it is the nature of the topic. What I said? It is the nature of the topic. The topic is so light. That is the reason why don't be under impression that, sir, I am unable to answer. No, you cannot answer because the topic is something like that. Therefore, it takes some time to get the perfection. So, every day if you take the test, obviously after some time you will be getting some confidence. Students, today also your test is on ratio and proportion. Day by day you will be improving your ability of handling the questions. You understand that? Day by day. Second day is obviously better than first day, and third day is better than second day, something like that. Your scale should improve like this. So, that is the reason why don't disappoint if you are unable to answer any questions. Try your level best, and of course, anyway we will be discussing that this is the process of learning. In process of learning, it is not important how you are able to answer, how good you are learning is all important. Okay student, now we continue with our topic, test of reasoning. Yesterday we started with sequence. Yesterday the topics we discussed are obviously very simple, as I told you that. Let me check any important messages are there from your side, my dear students. Yeah, good morning students. income expenditure question. Some of you are asking me to explain income expenditure question. Okay student, I will explain you. Can you explain yesterday's test? Sure. But student, please try to understand that it is not easy to answer all the questions. A test is obviously having 60 questions. So do you think that we can answer all the 60 questions? If that is the case, we have to take all the 2 hours for that only. We cannot move ahead. So that is the reason why. Please understand, we cannot discuss all the questions. Selectively we discuss. Okay, no problem. If the time comes, if the time permits, we will be discussing all the questions, but I think it is not that easy. Okay, you just try to understand that. Come on student, yeah. Now we continue with this. Now question number 1, yesterday we discussed this question. I believe that there is nothing I can explain you again, because when the topic is easy, I do not waste your time. If the topic is tough, then we will be taking some time. Yeah students, question number 3, question number 4, question number 5, 6, 7, question number 7, 8, 10, all the questions are so simple my dear students. 38 vehicle, this question also we discussed by giving you one more example. Yeah. Question number 12, student, just look at question number 12. In question number 12, just try to understand that if the following sequence of instruction, if what will come in the next, what will come in the next. What does that mean? Actually sequence cannot be continued. If at all, if sequence is supposed to be continued, there must be some logic in the sequence. If there is some logic, we can continue. Which means, if examiner asks you to continue the sequence, we have to find what is the logic in the question. Yes students, 4, just I am trying to, you see that how conveniently I am dividing this sequence. 4, 5, just look at that. 4, 5, 3. Just look at that. 4, 5, 3, 1, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2. Have you seen my dear students? 4, 4, 5, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2. Just look at that. 4, 5, 3, 1, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2. And there ends the sequence. Again the sequence continues, but this time the sequence continues with 4, 5. Did you see that? Come on student, then 4, 5, 3. So obviously the next number should have been 4, 5, 3, 1. So what is 1? 1 stands for green. So our answer must be green. Students, this is only one example. So while taking a test, you may be given a different question, having a different logic. You cannot simply complain, so this question is not taught by teacher. Remember, the questions we are dealing is only for your basic understanding. It is not that what we discuss in the class will appear in the exam. It is not like that. You understand that? What we discuss in the class will not come in the exam. It may be different questions. It has to be different. In examination, you have to face the new questions. When you face the new questions only, we can understand how good you are skillful. What man? How good you are skillful is only understood if I give you new questions to you. What happened in your academics? Teacher teach something, you will be reproducing the same in your exam. No change at all. You are repeating, it is nothing but a repetition. Repetition is happening in academics. So when repetition is happening in academics, how can examiner understand that you are having skill? You understand, my dear students? Therefore, please understand that every time you will be getting new questions. You have to get the new questions for sure. Okay? So students, yes, you are asking me to explain reasoning. Yeah. We already done this question. Yes, students, I know that. We already done with this question. I know that. It is for nothing, it is only for a purpose of repetition, that's it. Yes, students, now we continue. Question number 13 is okay, convenient. And question number 14, yeah. I think we discussed question number 15. Now question number 16. So from question number 16, we need to answer. Just look at that. Just look at that. In question number 16, here is the question goes, how many such pairs of digits, how many such pairs of digits are there in the number 831? What is the number? 8, 3, 1, 4, 6, 2, 9, each of which has as many digits between them in the number as after arranging the digits in the descending order. So, probably it is very difficult for you to understand what the question is actually meant. Let me explain you. Yeah, just look at it, my dear students. Yeah, just look at this. This is the number given to you, and you are asked to arrange the numbers in descending order. Let us see how to arrange the numbers in descending order. Here is the arrangements. You arrange the numbers in descending order. 9, only the digits we have supposed to take here. 9, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you understand that? Come on students, what we did? Just look at that. This is the number given to you. These are the digits you arranged in descending order. These are the digits you arranged in descending order. Students, please do not send any message right now. When you are sending a message, I don't find time to read. Therefore, I am missing the message you are actually sending to me. Please don't do that. You please respond when I ask you a question. When I ask you a question, then you respond. Otherwise, no. So anyway, some of you are asking me something. I just keep in mind. I will be explaining when the time comes. Look at that. This is the number given to you, and this is the number obtained after arranging the numbers in descending order. Yeah. It was done. Then tell me, what is the question actually you are asked to find? Tell me, what is the question? How many such pairs of digits, are there in the number which has as many digits between them in the number as after arranging in descending order? Focus, my dear students, just look at that. This question is not that simple, you have to focus completely. Just look at that. 8, 3. Here the difference between 8 and 3 is so much. 8 and 1, there is a lot of gap. 8 and 4, no, gap is not similar. 8 and 6, 8 and 2, 8 and 9. What I am trying to explain you, my dear students, just let me tell you that. Here is the question. Actually, the number given to you is 831, 4, 6, 2, 9. That is the number given by the examiner. And what actually we are trying to do is, we are trying to arrange the numbers in descending order. Here is the arrangement. 9, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. After such arrangement, examiner is asking you to find pairs of digits. Let me explain you. Forget about that. We tried with 8 and of course there was a failure. So I am just cancelling 8. So we have done with 8. So just cancel. Now check with the second digit, that is 3. 3, 1. See students, 3, 1. There is a gap. 3, 4. There is a gap of 1 digit. But 3, 4, there is no gap. 3, 6. Between 3, 6, how many digits are there? 2 digits. But between 3, 6, how many digits we have? Only 1 digit. That is not going to help us. 3, 2. 3, 9. 3, 9. See how many digits we have? 4 digits. 3, 9. See how many digits we have? 3 digits. Which means to say that we are unable to find any such pair with 3. So that is cancelled. Don't confuse. Take some time. Just look at 1, 4. 1, 4. No. 1, 6. No. 1, 2. No. 1, 9. No. You see how? 1 9. Between 1 9 there are 3 digits, but between 1 9 there are 5 digits. It's not like. Which I want to say that. So with 1 also we are not going to get anything. Now from here onwards be careful. Come on student. Check it out. 4 6. Come on student. 4 6. What do you observe from that? 4 6 there is no gap in original arrangement. 4 6 there is no gap after rearrangement, which means one such convenient pair is 4 6. I am keeping aside. Look at that. 4 2 4 2. See, between 4 and 2 we have only one digit. Between 4 and 2 we have only one digit. Therefore, 4 2 is another such pair. Then 4 9. Students, tell me how many digits we have between 4 and 9? 2 digits. 4 and 9. Tell me how many digits we have between 4 and 9? 2 digits. What do you observe from these? So 4 9 is another pair which is going to be useful for us. So tell me 4 6, 4 2, 4 9. How many pairs of digits? At the moment 3 pairs. Are we done? No, we are not done. There is something we have to do. Tell me, come on student. So first you tell me 4 6 is done. So let me tell you that with 4 also we get everything. Now what more digits and any more digits we have? Of course 6 2. 6 2, there is a lot of gap, forget about. And final pair 6 9. Final pair 6 9. Check it out. 6 9 there is a gap of 1 digit. 6 9 there is a gap of 1 digit. Therefore 6 9. So tell me how many digits we have? How many pairs of digits? 4 pairs of digits. So your answer is more than 3. I know it is not that easy to understand this question in first stroke. Maybe one more time if I explain you, you will be able to handle this question for sure. Look at the number given to you. 8, 3, 1, 4, 6, 2, 9. So these are the numbers given by the examiner. And 9, come on student, 9, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the number that is obtained after arranging the numbers in descending order. So as per the requirement, my dear students, just look at that, 4 6, come on student, 6 4. See, the gap is very similar. Okay, right. 4 2, just look at the gap. And 4 2, see, the gap is very similar. Between 4 and 2 there is 1 digit, between 4 and 2 there is 1 digit. I hope you understand what I am telling you right now. Come on student. Here it is. 4 9. Did you see that? 4 9. Have you seen? And the last pair we are about to find, is 6 9. 6 9. Actually, to get this answer, it is not that easy, because every letter we have to check, every digit we have to check. We tried with 8, we get nothing. We tried with 3, we get nothing. 1, nothing. So, like that we have to check. So, in the time pressure, it is not easy to get the answer. I understand that, but we have no other way, we have to find it. Probably, if you answer my question, I will be under impression, yes, students are getting right. If you are getting it right, therefore I can I can continue with more confidence. Students, are you ready, ma'am? Should I give you some question? Please come. Here is the question. Don't confuse. Leave the question right now. We can understand this question much better. In the place of this number, take the number something like this. In the place of that number, take the number like this. Come on, student. I just want to give some number. Just forget this number and take the number like this. 7, 8, 5, 3, 1. Take. Come on, student. Please explain 11th question. Okay. Come on, student. You have to explain me. Come on, make it fast. I am waiting for your answer. How many such pairs of digits are there? How many such pairs of digits are there? Continue. Yes, students. Okay. Come on, student. Yeah. Now this is your turn. I am waiting for your answer. Blue color baane kanipistunda? Okay. Students, yes, tell me how many such pairs of digits are there? The number is given to you. The given number is that. Somebody answered 4. More than 4. Somebody says more than 4. Okay. Well done. So yes, you have done. I appreciate that. Now descending order. Okay, you are asked to arrange in descending order. You know. Okay, we arrange in descending order. 8, 7, 5, 3, 1. That's very good. So we have to go one by one. Just take it out, my dear student. Check it out. 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7, 5 cancel. 7, 3, 7, 3, 7, 3, 7, 3, no such gap. 7, 1, 7, 1, no such gap. Therefore, one such pair is 7, 8. Come on, students. So what happened, you know? We have done with 7. Now cancel 7. Now we are trying with 8. Tell me, students. 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 3, 8, 3, 8, 1, 8, 1. See, 8, 1, there are 2 letters. 8, 1, there are 3 letters. Cancel. So you can cancel with 8. Then try the next one. 5, 3. Come on, student. 5, 3. That's correct. Then again. 5, 1. Come on, student. 5, 1. Tell me. 5, 3, 5, 1. What happened, you know? We have done with 5 also. And finally, we have 3, 1. 3, 1, 3, 1. And hence, your answer must be 4 such pairs. Congratulations. I appreciate, my dear students. So almost everybody responded similar. Almost everybody said 4. Very good. Students, yes, I appreciate that. There are 4 such pairs. I hope that we can go ahead with complete confidence. And well done. 4. Very good, students. So now I think there is no confusion. Without any confusion, we can go ahead. Very good, students. Everything is under control. I hope that I can go to the next question. You see that if the question number first time, if you are unable to answer any one question, no problem. If we discuss one more question, we will be confident. The only thing is, we have to say that we must be able to answer that particular question until we get it right. Student, there may be a question like, in place of descending, examiner can give you ascending. You can try it later, no problem. If not now, you can try it later. If he gives an ascending order, the only thing is you have to arrange the numbers in increasing order. That's it. Now, I think you are confident enough. I hope that I can go ahead. Now, here is the next question. Question number 17. Come on student, question number 17. Just look at that. Just look at that question number 17, what the question you are given. If it is possible to make a number which is a perfect square of a 2-digit odd number with the second, what the number you are given? 1, 8, 7, 6, 4, 1, 8, 7, 6, 4, 2, 5, 3, 9. Student, I wait for some time, I give you for 30 seconds of time. Just try to understand what is the meaning of the examiner. This is called verbal reasoning. Reasoning in words. Try to read and try to understand the question. I am waiting for your answer. Just read. Just read. Just read, man. Meanwhile, I will check it out your messages. Yeah. Everybody just give their answers. I appreciate. Read the question, my dear students. Read the question. Try to understand what actually there in the question. Did you find any difficulty understanding the question? So, what is important in answering test of reasoning? One should be very strong. Come on, at English. You need to be strong in English. If you are not strong in English, obviously it is difficult for you to get the perfection. You can ask me, sir, to get the perfection in English, what we have to do? Is it necessary we have to be in English medium right from the beginning? No. Medium has nothing to do with the perfection of English. If you want to be good at English, my dear students, you have to make a habit of reading. Reading will help you to be in touch with that particular language. If you make a habit of reading newspaper, daily newspaper, at least for 1 hour, that will make a lot of change in your career. Take my word, my dear students, take my word, I can assure you, because I had my education in Telugu medium till 10th class in municipal school, but that was never a hurdle for me to get the perfection in English. I had my education in Telugu medium till 10th class. So, students, to get the perfection in any language, one should be strong in their mother tongue, and after that you can get the perfection. So, why I am telling you is, just look at that question number 17. Waiting for your answer, my dear students. Can you post your answer, please? Let me see. Can you post your answer? Question is not visible clearly. Oh, somebody says question is not visible clearly. Okay. If that is the case, I have to read the question for you. If it is possible, look at that question, my dear students. If it is possible to make a number which is the perfect square of a 2-digit odd number with the second 6th, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6th and 9th digit, you are advised to consider 8, 2 and 9. You can make use of the digits 8, 2 and 9. So, with that digit, if it is possible to make a number which is the perfect square of a 2-digit odd number, which of the following is the digit in the units place of that 2-digit odd number? Tell me students, what is your answer? Any one of you? Okay, you are giving different answers, my dear students. I understand that, yes, you are giving different answers, which mean to say that I may assume that more than 90% of you must have had your education in English medium. So, medium is okay, but functional English, which means the English we keep in use is more important than medium of instruction. Just look at the question and what is the wish, what examiner is asking you to find. You are expected to use these three digits, and if it is possible to make a number which is a perfect square of a 2-digit odd number. Students, tell me what is 17 square? What is 17 square? 289. What do you think? 17 square is 289. Yeah, we could able to make a perfect square. We could able to make a perfect square of 17. After that, what exactly the question is? The question is, which of the following is the digit in the units place of the 2-digit odd number? This is the 2-digit odd number. What is there in units place? You have 7. Therefore, answer is 7. So, my dear students, units place, if it is tens place, it is 1. If it is units place, it is 7. Which mean to say that with the help of 8, 2 and 9, we can definitely make a perfect square of 17. 17 square is 289. So, in that particular 17, the digit which is in units place is 7. Hope you are getting it right, my dear students. Get it? So, read the question properly and try to understand what examiner is actually asking you. Some of you responded well, my dear students. Yeah. But gave some different answers. Explain once again, sir. Okay. You are asking me to explain this question again. Yeah, please. I will be doing that. Explain. Yeah. Student, actually, this is the number given by the examiner, and you are asked to make use of. Second digit. What is second digit? That is 8. And what is sixth digit? 2. And what is ninth? 9. With the help of 8, 2 and 9, tell me what perfect square we get? 289. 289 is the perfect square of 17. So, 17 is a 2-digit odd number. In this 17, the units place is 7. No problem, student? We come back to this question again. No confusion right now. We go ahead. Now, just look at that. Question number 18. So, from question number 18, we are actually going to discuss with a very small concepts, not very complicated. You can easily understand that. Following question are based on 3-digit number, that is 438 and then 285. These are the numbers we are actually given. 285, 716, 342, 857. Okay, we have taken those numbers. Tell me, what is the question you are asked to find? If only position of the first and last digits within each of the above numbers are interchanged, which of the following will be the smaller numbers? Students, tell me. If only first and last numbers within the numbers are interchanged. Tell me if it is done. If it is done, 438 becomes 834, 285 becomes 582. You understand what I'm doing? What I'm trying to do? 716 becomes 617, 342 becomes 243, 857 becomes 758. You understand that? What I did? I did nothing. Tell what actually the question is about. If only the position of the first and last digits within each of the above numbers are interchanged. I think you understand this. Now, which of the following will be the smallest number? Tell me, which of the following is going to be the smallest number? 243 is going to be the smallest number. This we are obtaining from 342. Therefore, after such rearrangement, 342 is going to be the smallest one, because this number is going to be converted into 243. Hence, your answer is 342. I think you understand this. I hope that we better discuss this particular question with one more example. One more example will definitely help you to get this right. Students, please don't send messages, man. Please don't send messages. Please don't send the messages. If you send the messages, I will be missing very important answers from your side. Please don't answer. No problem, student. We discuss one more question of the same model. You will be getting more confidence. Look at the question number 19. Here is question number 19. Tell what numbers we are actually given. 438, okay, 285, right. Come on, 716, 342, 857. Come on, tell what is the direction. If only the position of the first and second digits within each of the digits, only the first and second digits, within each of the number interchanged, which of the following will be sum of the digits of the highest number? You do one thing, my dear students. 438 becomes 348, you know that? Get it? 285 becomes 825, 716 becomes 176, this becomes 432, this becomes 587. Come on, student, which of the following will be the sum of the digits of the highest number? Tell me what is the highest number? Highest number is going to be 825. Tell me 825 was obtained from 285. But you are not done. What you are asked to find? What is sum of the digits of the highest number? So 285. 2 plus 8 plus 5. 2 plus 8 plus 5, the number is going to be 15. What, man? Get it? Huh? Not really clear? I think that some of you are not clear with this question even now. Maybe we have to make some changes in the question to make it more clear to you. Okay, fine. Never mind. Just look at that. Here is the question. Students, in place of highest, if I give you smallest, then what is going to be your answer? Come on, student. If I give you smallest, then what is going to be your answer? Student, please do not respond unless I ask you to do so, please. If I ask you smallest number, then what is going to be your answer? Please do not send your message unless I ask you to do so, okay? Come on, student, take your time. Here are the numbers, 438, then we have 285, we have 716, 342, 857. Just read the question. At the moment we are doing this question as per the requirement of the examiner, but in coming days we will be discussing this question by using our logic. I am just making you to understand the question properly. It is not that we do in the exam. After some time we will be doing in a different way. Come on, student, tell me what is your response? What is your response? Right, that is good, that's good, that's very well done. Now you are responding. I appreciate that. Yeah. So that is very important. You have to respond when I ask you to do so, okay? That's very good, Student, shall we change all the numbers as per the requirement of the examiner? I think that it doesn't make any sense, you know. What we have to get? We have to get the smallest number, no? And what you are asked to make, first and second digits within the numbers are interchanged. If that is the case, 716 becomes 176, no? Because you are only interchanging first and second. So this is going to be the smallest number for sure. and hence sum of the digits in this particular number are 7 plus 1 plus 6, hence your answer is 14. I hope you understand this, which I want to very clear to you. Yeah, 14, 14. 14 is correct, my dear students. Very well done, very well done, very well done. Good students. Now please stop sending messages. That's good. You responded very well. I congratulate you. So we move on to the next question. Here is the next question. Question number 20. Now yes, just look at that. Here is the question. The question is basing on the same numbers 438, 438, 285, 716, 342 and then we have 857. Tell me what you are asked to find first. First you are asked to add, if 5 is added to each of the above 5 numbers, which of the following will be the middle digit of the lowest number? Right student, now we are about to add 5 to each numbers. Shall we do? Actually, what is the lowest number right at the moment? What is the lowest number right at the moment? 285. If you add 5 to this number, again it is only going to be the lowest number. Okay man, no problem. You add all five to each number. What is there? What is there? This number becomes 443. If you add 5, this number becomes 721. If you add 5, this becomes 347. If you add 5, this number becomes 862. But still, if you can see that 290 is going to be your lowest number. 285 becomes 290, that is going to be the least only. Tell me, which of the following will be the middle digit of the lowest number? Therefore, you don't have your answer. Answer is none of these. Middle digit is obviously 9 because it is not given in the options. Therefore, your answer is 9. None of these. I think there is no confusion in this question, my dear students. We can go ahead without any confusion. Similar one, students, just look at that. Now, we answer this question and we go to the next model straight away. 438, 285, 716, 342, 857. Students, please answer whatever actually the examiner is asking you to do so. If 1 is added to the middle digit of each of the above number and 1 is subtracted from the first digit of each of the above number, which of the following will be third digit of the second highest number? There are two ways of handling this question. Point number 1. Actually, what is the second highest number right at the moment? 716. This is the second highest number. After the necessary changes that are made, this is only going to be the second highest number. It is not that any other number is going to be second highest. At the moment, this is the first highest and the second highest. After the changes the examiner asking you, that number is going to be the second. So please don't disturb the remaining numbers. We just concentrate on this. 1 is added to the middle digit and 1 is subtracted from the first digit. From the first digit you subtract 1, for middle digit you add 1. Therefore, the 6 will be same. 1 plus 1, this is going to be 2. 7 minus 1, this is going to be 6. I think 1 is subtracted from the first digit and 1 is added to the middle digit. Okay, you can do all for the remaining, but it does not make any sense, because even after doing that, this is only going to be the second highest. After this, What is the third digit of the second highest number? 6. Maybe I think I must give you one more example to get it clarified. So, right students, before we answer this question, I want to tell you one thing. 17, 13, 11, 9. Tell me what is the highest number? 17 is the highest number, okay? 17 is the highest, okay. Point number 2. Add 2 to each number, add 2 to each number, add 2 to each number. You tell me what is going to be the highest number? So, addition, while doing addition and subtraction, the original highest number will be highest number, the original least number is going to be the least number. Does not make any sense. Okay? No problem student. Just leave the question right now. Tomorrow also we discuss once again. Question number 22. Student, read the question properly. Read the question properly. This question is very important in competitive exams. Read the question properly. I am giving some time to read. Read and try to understand the question. Yes students, so only I got response from your side. There is no other point you want me to explain. Everything is under control. Well done, well done, well done. Is it the second highest number? It is the highest number, yeah. Highest second number only, okay. Student, while sending messages, try to send in a concise manner. What happens, you know, if you are sending me a very big lengthy messages, it is difficult for me to read it, okay, because I find very little time to read all your messages. So, make it concise, that is very important, okay. Yes student, just look at that. Here is the question. The train for Hyderabad leaves every 2.5 hours from Kakinada railway station. The train for Hyderabad leaves for every 2.5 hours from Kakinada railway station. An announcement was made at the station that the train for Hyderabad had left 40 minutes ago and the next train will leave at 18 hours. In railways you know pretty well, after 12 no, you will be getting 13. Actually we call this 1 p.m. no, but in railways they call 13, you know that very well. So, 2 p.m. they call it 14, 3 p.m. they call it 15 hours, isn't it? So, it is the railway timetable 14, 15 something like this. So, what is the duration, time duration, that is 24 hours time. Our routine is 12 hours, you see our watch is meant for 12 hours. If it has to be 24, so obviously it will be difficult for us. You need to have more dial, bigger dial. So, railways they follow 24-hour time, but in practice in our routine we follow 12 hours. Yes students, just look at that. How to handle this kind of questions? How to handle? You see that this is the train was already left. This is the train that is going to. Tell me what is the next train? The next train will leave at 16 hours. Just look at that. This is the next train. Got it? What man? This is the next train. If this is the next train, the earlier train might have left at 15:30. How do you know? How? You know that? Because there is a train for every 2.5 hours. There is a train for every 2.5 hours. What man? If you call this as the next train, if you want to call this as the next train, this is the train that was already left. What do you think? If you know this, you will be knowing this. What man? What man? Tell me. Tell me what is the announcement? What is the announcement? An announcement was made at the station that the train for Hyderabad left 40 minutes ago. So, about this particular train the announcement was made. Tell me what actually announcement was made? It was made that this particular train was left 40 minutes ago, which mean to say that at the time of announcement it is 16:10. The time of announcement is 16:10. How did I get? 15:30 plus 40. So, at the time of announcement was 16:10. Okay man, okay. Tell me, I just want to explain you once again. Here is the question. This is the train which was already left. Okay. This is the time of announcement. And this is the next train about to leave. Get the point? Tell me at what time the next train is about to leave? At 18 hours. If this train is going to leave at 18 hours, the earlier train might have left at 15:30. Am I clear to you? I think yes, I am. Because there is a duration of 2.5 hours. Okay, tell me. Regarding this train, the announcement is actually giving. Tell me how it is given. Announcement was given that the train was left 40 minutes ago. Yes, regarding this train. If you are mentioning that this train was left 40 minutes ago, at the time of announcement, the time is 16:10. I think I am clear to you. Students, am I clear? Yeah. I think I am absolutely clear. But I am not very clear whether you are able to get the point or not. I will come to know only if you respond this particular question quickly. Students, are you ready? Shall I give you one question to you? Come on here. Ready? Come on, what you are waiting for? Just look at this. I want to make a little change. In place of 2.5 hours, you take 2 hours. And get me the answer. Start. Come on, student. Come on, student. I am waiting for your answer. I am waiting eagerly for your answer. Come on, man. Come on, yes. Okay, well done. Please explain that question again. Okay. Responded very well. Yeah. Your response is appreciating. Well done. Excellent. Come on, student. If any one of you want me to explain this question again, here we go. Come on, yes. Tell me. This is the train which was already left. Ready? This is the train that is going to left. This is the next train. This is the time of announcement. Tell me, students, when it is given that the next train will leave at 18 hours, the earlier train must have left at 16 hours. How do you know? Because there is a train for every 2 hours. There is a train for every 2 hours. Come on, student. So, what you are telling, how the announcement is given? This is the time of announcement. Tell me how the announcement was given. Announcement was given that the train was already left 40 minutes ago. Probably regarding this train, he is giving you the information. It is already 40 minutes since this particular train was left. So, at the time of announcement, it is 16:40. What, man? Are we comfortable, man? Yeah. Wonderful, students. Wonderful. Because the question is so important. Let me give you one more example. Maybe this time you get it even better. Come on, yes. I want to make some changes. In place of 18 hours, you take 9 hours and get me the same answer. What you are waiting? Go ahead. Students, I am waiting for your answer. Come on. Yes. Well done. Come on, student. Yeah. I am eagerly waiting your answer. Your answer help me to understand whether you are getting it right or wrong. Quick. Come on, man, quick. Yeah. Wonderful. Student, I made only one change. What is that? The time is 9 hours. Every other information is same. Only change is 9 hours. Carry on. Excellent. I appreciate my dear students. Wonderful. Yeah. So, this is the train which was already left, right? And this is the next train is about to leave. Of course, this is the time of announcement. When the next train is about 9 hours, the earlier train was left 6:30 because the gap is 2.5 hours. Come on, tell me what is the question? You are telling that this particular train was left 40 minutes ago. Therefore, you have to add. Therefore, at the time of announcement, it is 7. At the time of announcement, it is 7:10. Congratulations, my dear students. Congratulations. Yeah. Students, somebody said, oh, 7:40. If anyone said 7:40, you might have taken this 7. No, it is not 7, no, it is 6:30. Because the gap is 2.5 hours. In this question, I just made only one change, that is time. Come on, student. That's very good. Now, next question. Here is the next question. You need to answer this. Start. What you are waiting? Come on, start. Students, I am checking your answers. They are very encouraging. That gives me a lot of confidence actually as a teacher. Go ahead. For this question, you have to answer this question. Come on, yes. Come on, yes. You have to answer. If you don't answer, there is no purpose in conducting the class. It is an aptitude, not subject wise. Yes, student, tell me how you are answering this question. Here we go. The priest told the devotee that temple bell rung at every 45 minutes. Temple bell rung at a regular intervals of 45 minutes. Yeah, here we go. This was the last bell that was rung. Okay, this is the this is the last bell that was rung, and this is the next bell about to rung. Come on student, go ahead, go ahead. I am eagerly waiting for your answer, my dear students. Oh, congratulations, responded very positively. Excellent, 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 excellent. Very good, my dear students. I really appreciate, and I am so delighted to see that you are able to get the point clear. Very good. Tell me, the last bell was rung 5 minutes ago. The next bell is due to be rung at 7:45 a.m. If the next bell is 7:45 a.m., my dear student, the last bell might have rung at 7 a.m. Am I clear to you? Because there is a gap of 45 minutes. So regarding this bell, the priest is giving that it was rung 5 minutes ago, which mean to say that at the time of announcement, the time is 7:05 a.m. Because at the time of announcement, he says that was rung 5 minutes ago. Means by the time the announcement was given, it is 7:05 a.m. Student, are you clear? I hope. Okay. I think it is, we can easily go ahead. Congratulations students, you are doing extremely good job. 6:55? What 6:55 man? It should be 7:05. Why you mentioned 6:55? It should be 7:05 no? Okay. Student, actually priest is telling that this particular bell was rung 5 minutes ago, which means at the time of announcement it is 7:05, isn't it? It was rung 5 minutes ago. No problem. I hope you understand this. Okay, no problem. I want to give some changes, then you please answer my question. Students, in place of 45 minutes, if I give you 30 minutes, what is going to be your answer? Start. In place of 45 minutes, if I give you 30 minutes, what is going to be your answer? Start. Still some of you are giving different answers. I want to see why you are having a different opinion. What is the problem in that? Let me explain this question. Just look at that. This was about the last bell, okay? This was about the last bell. This is about the next bell, okay? Tell me, when the next bell was at 7:45 a.m. If the next bell was 7:45 a.m., the bell that was rung was at 7:15 a.m. because there is a bell for every 30 minutes of time. There is a bell for every 30 minutes of time. I hope you understand what I am telling you, my dear students. Tell me, what priest is telling? It is already 5 minutes since the last bell was rung. What do you think? The time the priest giving this information is after 7:15 only, no? Tell me at what time the information is given to you? It is given to you at 7:20 a.m. I think you understand, my dear students. 7:20, yes, no, you got the point. Yes, 7:20, yes. 7:20, very good. Yeah, a little confusion is obviously there, but we should come out of that confusion. If we don't come out of that confusion, obviously we may not be handled. Right, students? Now one more question. Maybe this time you will be able to handle this with perfection. Right, question number 24. Read the question properly. I understand that some of you are not able to understand the question in first stroke. Maybe we have to read for second time to get the question clear. Reaching the place of meeting 20 minutes before 8:50. 20 minutes before 8:50. 20 minutes before 8:50 means 8:30. Okay. Amar found himself 30 minutes earlier than the man who came 40 minutes late. What was the scheduled time of the meeting? Tell me, student, at what time he reached? He reached at 8:30. You understand that? Amar found himself 30 minutes earlier than the man who came 40 minutes late. This man came 40 minutes late. And Amar is 10 minutes late. Am I clear to you? Am I clear to you? Amar is 10 minutes late to the meeting. Amar is 10 minutes late to the meeting. Am I clear to you? You tell me, students. Am I clear to you? How do you know that? Amar is comparing with me. Amar is comparing. Let me suppose that I am the man. How many minutes I am late to the meeting? I am late for 40 minutes. Comparing with me, Amar says that I am 30 minutes earlier. Therefore, Amar is also late. I am late by how many minutes? 40 minutes. Amar is late by how many minutes? 10 minutes. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because he is 30 minutes earlier. You are Amar, I am the man. I came late to the meeting for how many minutes? 40 minutes. Comparing with me, you are 30 minutes earlier. You are also late. You are late by how many minutes? 10 minutes. At what time you reach? 8:30. 8:30 is not the scheduled time. What is the scheduled time? Scheduled time is 8:20. I understand that you are not getting this question right. Tell me, what is the point? What is the point? Just read this. Read this. First, you read the point one by one. Reaching the place of the meeting 20 minutes before 8:50. 20 minutes before 8:50 means 8:30. Am I right? You understand? He reached the meeting at what time? He reached the meeting at 8:30. Get it? After reaching, the meeting was already started. That is the reason why Amar is comparing with me. Amar is comparing with me. That is the man. What if compare? Amar found himself 30 minutes earlier than the man who came 40 minutes late. Amar is comparing with me. I am 40 minutes late. Comparing me, he says that he is 30 minutes earlier. Therefore, I conclude that Amar is late by 10 minutes. Is it convincing or late? Not. Is it convincing? Amar is late by 10 minutes. At what time he came? 8:30. But he is already late by how many minutes? 10 minutes. So, what is the scheduled time of meeting? I think I am absolutely clear to you. But maybe I should give you one more example to make myself comfortable whether you are getting it right or not. Okay? Okay, fine. Students, just look at that. Just look at this. Look at this. In place of 40 minutes, if I give you 50 minutes, tell me what is going to be your answer. In place of 40 minutes, if I give you 50 minutes, start. In place of 40 minutes, if I give you 50 minutes, tell me what is your answer? I just only made one change, nothing more. I only made one change. Come on. I only made one change. You have to tell me what is the scheduled time of meeting. What is the scheduled time of meeting? Come on, student, I am waiting eagerly. Wonderful. Some of you responded very well. Now start. Come on, start. After reaching the place 20 minutes before 8:50 means he reached by 8:30. Amar is comparing with me. How many minutes I am late? I am late by 15. By comparing with me, Amar says that I am 30 minutes earlier. You are 30 minutes earlier than me. Therefore, Amar is late by 20 minutes. I am late, you are late. How many minutes I am late? I am late by 50 minutes. You are late by 20 minutes because you came 30 minutes before me. What, man? Am I clear to you? So, he is late by how many minutes? 20 minutes. At what time he came? 8:30, which means the scheduled time is 8:10. Okay, whether it is AM or PM, just nobody. So, your answer is 8:10. Let me see how many of you gave 8:10. Yeah, wonderful. Everybody responded well. Still, there may be some confusion among the students. We will come out of that. Tomorrow, we will be make it clear. So, for today, we take this question and we close this topic. Question number 25. Students, question number 25 is very important question. You please focus. Question number 25. A monkey climbs 20 feet at the beginning of each hour and rests for a while when he slips back 10 feet before he again starts climbing in the beginning of the next hour. If he begins his ascent at 6 AM, at what time will the first touch the flag 90 feet above the ground? What is the capacity of the monkey? Capacity of the monkey is it can climb 20 feet. Climbing is a very tedious process, you know. While climbing, you have to make use of every nerve of your body. Climbing is not that easy, man. It really takes a lot of your time. If you want to reduce your weight, so functional training, climbing is one important functional training. After reaching 20 feet, it could not able to sustain that. It slips back. Slips back for how many feet? It slips back when it slips back 10 feet. It slips back 10 feet. So, for climbing you take 21 hour, but rest for a while and immediately slips back. Just look at that. Here is the pole. What monkey is doing? It could climb 20 feet in 1 hour. Climbing takes 1 hour time, but slips back 10 feet, which mean to say that after severely working for 1 hour, the monkey could able to climb only 10 feet. Am I clear to you? It could climb 20 feet for sure, but it could not sustain there. It gets back 10 feet, which means it could able to it could able to climb only 10 feet in every 1 hour. What, man? It could able to climb only 10 feet every 1 hour. 20 feet it could climb, but 10 feet it slips back, you know. You understand this? Student, Just look at the question. Let me suppose that the monkey is climbing is only 20 feet height. Tell me in what time it climbs? The pole the monkey is climbing is only 20 feet. In what time it could climb? It could climb in 1 hour. Why? In 1 hour, it can anyway climb 20 feet, you know. If the entire pole is only 20 feet, it already reached to the top. There is no point of slipping back. What do you think? There is no point of slipping back. Slipping back, the question of slipping back arises when the height of the pole is more than 20 feet. What man? If the height of the pole is more than 20 feet, the question of getting back arises. What do you think? I hope you understand this. What is the capacity of the monkey? Capacity of the monkey is it can climb 20 feet in every 1 hour. Just look at that, my dear students. What is the height of the pole? Height of the pole is 90 feet. What is the height of the pole? Height of the pole is 90 feet. You do one thing. You cut the pole into two different pieces, 20 feet and 70 feet. You cut the pole into two pieces, 20 feet from the top and remaining 70 feet. If somehow monkey comes here, if monkey comes here, it can reach this 20 feet in only 1 hour, because the capacity of the monkey is 20 feet in every 1 hour. But what about the 70 feet? 70 feet, 7 hours. How do you know? Because it can climb 20 feet, could not sustain, it comes back 10 feet, which means it goes only 10 feet in every 1 hour. So, 10 feet for every 1 hour, 70 feet in 7 hours, 20 feet in 1 hour. So, the entire ascent completes in 8 hours. What is the time? At what time the ascent is started? 6 a.m. So, by the time it reaches, it will be 2 p.m. Please note this question, that's it. Don't ask me to explain again, because this question we will be discussing tomorrow. At the moment, just note down. Don't ask me to explain this again. I know that some of you are unable to understand this. We will be discussing this tomorrow, because the time is already 1 hour 20 minutes. It is the time to take a break. Students, note down the question, and with this we come to an end of our reasoning class. We will take a break for 5 minutes, have some water. By the time we come back, we discuss ratio and proportion test. Okay? Today also you are taking ratio proportion test only, not reasoning. Okay? We take a break for 5 minutes, students. We come back quickly. Let me explain the questions which you might have find a little difficulty. Here is the questions. Student, just look at that. Question number 1. In a musical concert, the ratio of the number of girls to that of the boys was 5:7. The number of girls to boys is 5:7. Girls and boys were in the ratio 5:7. When 102 more girls entered the concert, the new ratio of the girls and boys becomes 6:5. It was actually 5:7, now the ratio becomes 6:5. Why the ratio changes? Is it that only girls are added or boys are also added? Boys are also added, you know. Girls are only added, there is no change in boys. Students, I just want to make some changes, whether you could able to get it right or not, just understand that. 5:7, let me take it as 25:35. Can I take? Into 5 into 5, I can take it, ratio can be changed like this. 6:5, let me take it 30:35. Can I take? Why? There is no change in boys. Whatever the change is only because of girls. How many girls were there? 25 parts. Now the girls becomes how many parts? 30 parts. Because of how many? 102. 102 is because of 5 parts. So the how many people were there in the musical concert at first? Simply, my dear students, girls which were actually 25 becomes 30. So 5 parts is equal to 102. How many people were there initially? How many people were there initially? 60 parts. 25 plus 35, 60. 60 parts, how much? How many people were there in the musical concert in the beginning? 6:5. 5:7. 5:7 is taken as, okay students, okay, if you find any difficulty, I will explain this question in much easier way. Tell me how many girls and boys were there? Girls and boys were there in the ratio 5:7. Let the number of girls be 5x, if you find little difficult, and the number of boys 7x. You understand that? We can take it now. Tell me students, when 102 more girls entered, the ratio of the girls to boys becomes 6:5. You can solve for x, thereby you can get your answer. If you find the earlier process a little confusing, you can also do it like this. Okay? Check yourself. Come on student. Explanation I cannot come down, I cannot slow it down, you can understand that. In a particular type of alloy, the ratio of the lead to tin is 5:6. The amount of lead should be added to 12.1 kg of this metal to make the ratio 1:1. Come on student. What is the initial ratio? We have lead and tin. Lead and tin were in the ratio 5:6. What you are adding? You are adding lead to make the ratio 1:1. 6:6. Where is 6:6? 1:1. Can we take it 6:6? Yes, we can take. You can ask me, sir, why you are taking like? The reason is, what you are adding? The amount of lead to be added. You are only adding lead. What you want to keep constant? You want to keep tin constant. You don't want to make any change in tin. Okay. So what was the lead? Actually it was 5 parts. It should be 6 parts. How many parts it should improve? 1 part. Out of how many parts? Out of 11. Into what is the quantity? The quantity is 12.1. So 11, 12.1 cancels for how many times? 1.1. What is the logic in the question? You are adding lead. So tin should not be disturbed. You understand, my dear students? You get the point. This is the beautiful topic. Okay. Aptitude is such that obviously when you are dealing, still there are many points to teach. Student, as far as paper explanation is concerned, please do not post any questions, because I don't find time. I have to make a little quick, otherwise I may not be able to teach the questions. Next question. Question number 3. Student, just look at that. Here is the question. You please read the question seriously before you understand. In a regiment, the ratio between the number of officers to soldiers was and soldiers was 3:31. Before a battle. In a battle, 6 officers and 22 soldiers were killed and the ratio becomes 1:13. Let the officers be 3x and the soldiers be 31x. You understand this? Tell me. In a battle, 6 officers, now how many officers we left with? 3x minus 6. How many soldiers we left with? Minus 22. Now the ratio becomes 1/13. You solve for x. You understand, man? 3:31. Therefore, officers are taken 3x and the soldiers were taken 31x. 6 officers were died, therefore, these were the remaining number of officers. 22 soldiers were killed, this was the remaining number of soldiers. Now, the ratio is 1:13. You can solve for x and you can get your answer. At the moment you handle this question like this, you can ask me, sir, what we do in future? What we do in future? Okay, should I tell you? What we do in future? That is your question now. You answer this question right now. You can ask me, okay sir, we do this question right now. And in coming days, how we answer this question? Want to learn? Come on, I just let you know. Officers and soldiers were given in what ratio, man? 3:31, isn't it? 3:31. Is it the number or a ratio? It is the ratio. What is the question you are asked to find? The number of officers in the regiment before the battle. Before the battle, officers were a multiple of 3. 38 is not divisible by 3. 28 is not divisible by 3. 31 is not divisible by 3. The only option that is divisible by 3 is 21. Without a second thought, you can go for 21. What, man? Beautiful, no? That's the beauty of aptitude. So, when we go ahead, when we do more practice, obviously we will be getting all this logic. Therefore, I said it is a matter of skill. Right at the moment, we are discussing step by step. In coming days, we can discuss the same question in a different direction. Want me to check it out for you? Come. 21. Tell me. If officers are at 21, then soldiers will be 7 into 3, that is 247. Am I clear to you, man? 3 into 7, 21. 31 into 7, 247. I mean, sorry, 217 into 7, 217. What do you think? 3 into 7, 21. 31 into 7, 217. Now, how many officers were died? 6 officers. How many officers were remaining? 15. How many soldiers were died? 22. Therefore, how many soldiers are remaining? 195. 15 and 195. What is the ratio? 1:13. Yes. In coming days, we will be discussing these questions like this, but this is too early to tell all this. This is too early. As you know that it is a matter of skill. We should go step by step. So, don't confuse my dear students. As I told you that this question you just try to handle as I told you, and after that you can discuss this. Students, this is very similar to the previous one. You can answer this question. Yeah, students, in Ramnagar colony, the ratio of the school going children to non-school going children is 5:4. Here is the question: school going children and non-school going children. School going children and non-school going children are in the ratio 5:4. In the next year, the number of non-school going children is increased by 20%, is making 335,400. What is the new ratio? Come on student, we discuss like this. Let the school going children be 5x, okay, and non-going school children be 4x. What do you think? Am I clear to you, my dear students? 5x and 4x. How many non-going children are there? 4x. The number of non-going children increases by what percent? 20%. The number of non-going children increases by 20%. That comes around 35,400. You can get the value of x from this. We are making use of the concept of percentages. If any one of you did not attend for percentage, maybe this question seems to be a little confusing for you, sure. You see the combination of ratio, proportion and percentage. See, slowly we are going to the next level. Number of non-going school children are given 4x. It is increased by 20%. What is the meaning of increased by 20%? 120 by 100. If it is decreased by 20%, we would have taken 80 by 100. You know, the number is 35,400. You can get the value of x. I hope you understand, student. You can solve the question. Next one. Yeah, question number 6. It is very interesting. It is very interesting. In T minutes, if C centimeter rain in T minutes on first day, there are 2 days, my dear student, first day and second day. Students, how do we compare it, rains? Obviously, we compare rains in centimeter. On any given day, if you are given that 10 centimeter rain was fallen, that's a 10 centimeter rains is a huge rain, you know. 10 centimeters, take the scale, 10 centimeters is something like this, which means that in your area, there must have been water of this level, any part of your area. If it is low lying area, maybe water level is this much. So, water level is measured in centimeters. You understand that? In first day, there is C centimeter of rain in T minutes. On first day, there is in T minutes of time, there is C centimeters. Okay. Second day, there are C by 2 centimeters in 2 T minutes. In 2 T minutes, the rain is C by 2. In T minutes, the rain is C by 4. What do you think? On first day, there are C centimeters in T minutes. Second day, in 2 T minutes C by 2, in T minutes C by 4. Therefore, T minutes C centimeters, T minutes C by 4. Cancel CC. Therefore, your answer is 4:1. Your answer must be 4:1. What, man? You can ask me, sir, why? What is the problem? The problem is, in first day, the comparison is T. In second day, the comparison is 2T. In 2T minutes, C by 2 rain. T minutes, C by 4. So, C is to C by 4, 4:1. What, man? I hope you understand this point clearly. Okay, right. Because in paper explanation, I cannot slow down this method because I have to explain at least 20 questions. Students, someone of you are asking me to explain expenditure income ratio. Yeah, just come to this point. Somebody in the morning, I got a message and is asking me to explain income and ratio. Income and expenditure. When you have savings, more income, less expenditure, then the difference is obviously savings. Come on, student. So, we have two people X and Y. The monthly incomes of A and B, the monthly incomes of A and B. You can ask me, sir, where is 6 is to 4? Yes. 3 is to 2, can I take 6 is to 4? Yes, we can. We are already used to that. Tell me, what is the expenditure ratio? Expenditure ratio is 5 is to 3. You understand that? Tell me how many parts what is how many parts? 6 parts. Expenditure 5 parts. Out of 6 is putting 5 parts expenditure. Out of 4 is putting 3 parts expenditure. Tell me, savings are how many parts? Savings are 1 part. So, every 1 part is 1000. What is the income of X? Income of X is 6 parts. So, every 1 part is 1000, 6 parts are 6000. Students, at the moment I am not just reading your messages, I do not find time as well, because we need to discuss at least 20 questions. Okay? Go ahead. Student, just look at that. Question number 8. Question number 8. The number of employees in a factory decreases in the ratio 8 is to 7. Earlier there were 8 people, now only 7 people are working. And salary of employees increases in the ratio 5 is to 6. Salary of employees increases in the ratio 5 is to 6. What is 8 is to 9? This is the number of employees. What is 5 is to 6? This is the ratio of salary. Therefore, the total salary bill 8 into 5 40 and 7 into 6 42. I think you understand this. 40 and 42, that comes around 20 and 21 increases. Compound ratio, isn't it? How do you know it is a compound ratio? How much salary I should pay every month to my employees? Depends on what? How many employees I am engaging? How many employees I am engaging, and what amount I am paying to them? 10 employees, 10,000. 10 into 10,000, 1 lakh. Compound ratio. Therefore, 8 into 5, 7 into 6, 20 is to 21, increase, because 20 becomes 21. Okay? Just note down. Students, this is very similar. In fact, this we discussed earlier yesterday also. Very similar, my dear students. There is no confusion in handling this question. Students, you remember this? This we discuss. Okay. Maybe you might have found a little difficulty in answering, because there is some complication in fraction. Fraction wise there is some complication. Railway fares of first, second and third classes between 2 stations were in the ratio 8 is to 6 is to 3. First class, second class and third class. The fares were in the ratios 8 is to 6 is to 3. What is this fares? Fares means prices. Ticket price, we call it as fare. The fares of first and second class were subsequently reduced by 1 by 6 and 1 by 12. It is reduced by 1 by 6 and it is reduced by 1 by 12. If during a year the ratio between the passengers of first, second and third class was 9 is to 12 is to 26, and the total amounts collected by the sale of the ticket was 1088, then find the collection from the passengers of first class tickets. Student, actually there is nothing we can discuss in this question. The previous information is all unnecessary. You can read the question, here it is. If during a year the ratio between the passengers of first, second and third classes was 9 is to 12 is to 26, which means this information is not required, and the total amount collected by the sale of tickets was 1088. So that is enough. because earlier information is all unnecessary. Then what is the collection from the first class? What is the collection from the first class? 9 parts. This is a routine process. So sometimes some of the information given in the beginning was not necessarily we have to take it. Sometimes we can dispose of, okay, this you come in practice. Maybe you find little difficult in answering lengthy questions, I understand that. Leave the lengthy questions while answering. After answering easy questions, you come back to the lengthy questions, that is a good habit, okay. Students, I think you can understand, you can answer this question now. I hope there is no confusion in this question. Everything is under control. Tell me how you are answering this question. How many subjects you have? You have English, Science and Maths. If the ratio of his marks in English and Maths is 2:3, English and Maths is 2:3. And then Ram got twice as many marks in English as in Science. This is twice. How do you know? Science 1, English 2 twice. English and Maths, what is the ratio? 2:3, everything under control. Now the total marks are how many? We have 180. What is his marks in Science? So how many marks is getting in Science? 1/6 into 180, that is 30. I believe that you are able to answer some questions with confidence. The only thing is, if you find any difficulty, maybe you might have find it when the questions are lengthy. Yeah, when the questions are lengthy, you obviously find difficult, man. The topic never completes in your lifetime. Every time you get new questions. Therefore, we call it as aptitude. You understand that? Please. Come on, student. Question number 13, you can do this. That is not an issue. Question number 14, yeah. I am just leaving the questions which you find little easy. Students, I think I need not explain this question, because these questions we already discussed many a times. Student, just look at that. Here is the question. The question is something like this. 390 is divided among 3 workers ABC. 3 workers A, B, C. To divide, we need to have some ratio. What is the condition? 2 times A's share is equal to 3 times B's share, which is equal to 4 times C's share. You know that? This is not convenient condition. Whenever this kind of conditions are given, what I told you, we have to divide the entire equation by 12, LCM. Therefore, 2 6 times, A by 6, 3 4 times, B by 4, C 3 times, C by 3. Therefore, amounts may be distributed in the ratio 6:4:3. 390 should be distributed in the ratio 6:4:3. How much A gets? 6 by 13 into 390. So now you are used to do this kind of questions. Okay. Maybe you are taking 24. Okay, you can take 24, but again you will be getting the same ratio. Doesn't make any difference. Student, I think. Did you find any difficulty, man? Did you find any difficulty? Let me explain this question to you. 680 rupees is distributed among A, B, C in such a way that A gets 2/3 of B gets, and B gets 1/4 of what C gets. Okay. So let me start from C. I explain you why I have taken 12. I explain you. Tell me how much B is getting? 1/4. 1/4 means 3. 12 by 4, 3. How much A gets? 2/3 of B. 2/3 into 3, that is 2. You can ask me, sir, why you are taking C12? There is a reason for that. Because A has to get 2/3 of B. B has to get 1/4 of C. What is the LCM of 3 and 4? 12. If 12 is given to C, you will be getting B. If you get B, you will be getting A. You used to do that, okay? Slowly you will be getting that. Student, I think this is simple. Okay, 94 is divided into two parts. 94 rupees is divided into two parts such a way that fifth part of the first, fifth part of the first and eighth part of the second are in the ratio 3:4. Are in the ratio 3:4. Tell me students, fifth part of the first, eighth part of the second are in the ratio 3:4. Whenever this kind of question is given, simple logic, 3 into 5, 15, 8 into 4, 32. Divide the amount in the ratio 15:32. What is your question? What is the first part? 15 by 47 into 94. You will be getting your answer. See, every day you get new techniques. Every day your ability improves. But you have to work a lot, you know. But you might be having a lot of doubts with you, my dear students. You might be having so many doubts. I understand that. But the problem is, we don't find lot of time to explain all the questions. Please understand from my side, because we don't have too much time to explain. Therefore, still I will be trying my level best to give you this kind of questions whenever. Yeah, students, this one you can handle. I think there is nothing I can tell you. This kind of questions, coins questions, we discuss a lot. Students, okay. There is nothing in this question actually. If you can understand this, we can handle this. Tarun and Varun are working in an MNC. MNC means multinational company. Okay. Income of Tarun is 6,000 more than income of Varun. If you take income of Varun X rupees, income of Tarun will be X plus 6,000 as per the information provided. While expenditure of Tarun and Varun are 64,000 and 48,000 respectively. What is the expenditure of Tarun? This much. What is the expenditure of Varun? This much. Tell me students, what is this? This is income. This is income of Tarun. Out of X plus 6,000, how much is what is his expenditure? 64,000. This is all savings of Tarun. Come Varun, X minus 48,000. This is the savings of Varun. Now savings are in the ratio 3:2. Student, tell me what is savings? Savings is nothing but difference between income and expenditure. Income of Tarun, expenditure, difference is saving. Income minus expenditure, difference is saving. Don't confuse, my dear students. Every day you are getting new questions. So every day it is a challenge. Therefore, aptitude, every day it is a challenge. Any number of questions you practice, every time you get new questions. You can ask me, sir, what is the solution? Practice. So next topic, the continuation of ratio and proportion. You all get this kind of questions again. Next week we will be discussing this kind of questions. So the topic never completes. Every time we will be using this topic concept, every time. So please, another 1 month of time, you will be getting even more confident. That is the reason management, our chairmen are asking you to focus more on aptitude, because this time is very valuable to you. That is the reason why our management is focusing more. You don't have any other work. You can focus completely on your aptitude. So do more practice. But don't disappoint if you are not getting answers. It is not that easy to get the perfection in one month or 2 months. It is a long time process. But we are going in the very right direction. I make sure you will definitely get the topic. Believe me, believe Aditya, we give you the best. Okay, student. So it is 11:30 already, 2 minutes is there. Still, your next class is going to be started. Now, today, we say goodbye. So, tomorrow we will be meeting again. Today, you are taking ratio proportion test only. Okay. So, today is going to be the last test on ratio proportion. Practice, then you take the test. Without practice, if you straight away take the test, may not be able to. So, sequence test you will be taking from tomorrow onwards, not today. Thank you, student. So, we will be meeting again by 9:30 tomorrow. Thank you.